Hi everybody, this is the host, aka Host 1.
And the co-host, aka Host 2 here. Just a few quick words before we jump into the episode.
If you're a new listener, here's how the show works. We typically will spend about 5% of the episode at the beginning and the end talking about a motivational related topic, and then the other 95% of the episode is a ton of comedy in between.
We'd appreciate it if you could please like, subscribe, and share the show with other people. Feel free to leave us a comment wherever you're listening or send an email to facetodaypodcast@gmail.com.
Now, back to the episode. And we're back. This is episode 3 of the Face the Day podcast. Your two co-hosts are back, ready to get it going, ready to record, and we could not be any more excited. It's been an interesting last few weeks for a variety of reasons in our lives, and the reason we're saying that is because episode 3, the title is the title that we've come up with is going to be "It'll All Make Sense One Day," and the reason we say that is because many people out there like to live by the motto, "Everything happens for a reason." And while I don't have any problem with that, my co-host doesn't have any problem with that, and we respect people that live by that motto, we don't.
We don't.
However, we do like to live by the motto, "It'll all make sense one day." And if you're listening to this, I promise you, if you're in a difficult situation in life, just know that it really will make sense one day.
It will.
We know it will.
We know it,
Co-host. Take
Absolutely.
it away.
Thank you, co-host, for that lead-in.
You're welcome.
Thank you for everything you do.
You're welcome.
Things don't always make sense in the moment, exactly like you said, but sometimes down the road and around the corners, with hindsight, we're able to make sense of things. And if we could just remind ourselves that, things will make sense one day, maybe we'll all feel a little bit better.
Yes. Now, co-host, this past week, I did happen to watch the movie directed by Stanley Kubrick starring Tom Cruise called Eyes Wide Shut. And
classic.
I actually, the week before that, I watched Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise. Both very interesting movies, both very crazy. But Eyes Wide Shut, before we recorded this podcast tonight, my co-host and I were replaying the chanting scene, the ritual, the orgy, the party scene in Eyes Wide Shut when Tom Cruise goes to the mansion in the suburbs, and I'm having a difficult time getting this chanting out of my head now. I've been repeating it in my head over and over, and to be honest, it's driving me a little insane, but co-host, it's just Nahir,
all I can think of is Tom Cruise just jumping on the couch saying, "I did it, Oprah! I did it, Oprah!
I did it! I fucked Katie Holmes!"
Oh no! Oprah said, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" But no, listen, Kubrick is an iconic, legendary director of America film and cinema. So, he wanted you to get hooked on that scene.
Yes.
I think the whole point of that scene is to emblaze it in your mind.
And one of the craziest things about this entire movie, co-host, is that Tom Cruise only walked.
He only walked.
He didn't run the entire movie.
He didn't run.
And in one of the previous episodes of the Face the Day podcast, we realized that Tom Cruise runs in every movie, and we have to admit that we were wrong because he didn't run in this movie.
We were wrong. We thought he ran.
Only walked.
He only walked. And we know what? He runs. He does a lot of running. Running and running and running.
He runs, but he didn't run in this movie. So,
and one more thing about Tom Cruise that we were talking about before the show started. Tom Cruise actually, he's known for being a thriller and a action actor, but his best roles have come in more drama, more serious type roles where he didn't run and he didn't do a whole lot. Those have been his best roles, his best movies.
I completely agree. And, Tom Cruise, I wouldn't say that he's sold out, but he's in Mission Impossible 8 now.
8, 9, Dubai, Mission Impossible.
This guy, he's obviously he's made enough money. I hope he comes back to acting in more serious or comedic or just dramatic roles. Because he really is a good actor. I appreciate him. Someone the other day told me that he was 5'2". I've checked the actual facts, and he's 5'7", I believe.
5'7" with heels on or lifts on. No, he's naturally 5'7".
It doesn't change back. But my co-host and I talk a lot about fame. Before we jump into the podcast, my co-host and I talk about fame a lot of the time.
Fame.
Both of us are not famous. Both of us don't really know anyone close to us that are famous.
Not yet.
But we're like interested in the whole fame concept, because someone like, how do you live your life as a very famous person and go through life? And it's very difficult to relate to them, because like if you're someone like Tom Cruise, you legitimately cannot go out in public. You can't go anywhere without people mobbing you or trying to take your photo or talk to you or get your autograph. And it's a very interesting life, and it's very easy for us to sit here and critique them and complain about them and say they do these things right, they do these things wrong. But being famous, unless you're close to someone that's famous, it is a very interesting life. And
it really is. And to be fair, you said earlier we don't know any. We know quite a few famous people that have a good deal of fame, whether it's through business or even through entertainment.
Yes, we do.
We know some few, and you know what? It's a tough life, and you really have to be really grounded and have a good head on your shoulders.
Yes. Now, listeners, as we just wasted the last 5 minutes and 49 seconds talking about Tom Cruise and fame and living your life and how things will come, we're gonna jump into the podcast and talk about random topics, as you are used to hearing on this podcast.
Yes, sir.
So, co-host, my first question for you, and if you're ready for it, and just so you guys know, my co-host does not know beforehand what I'm going to say to him or ask him, and he has no knowledge of what the topics are.
It's totally random. It's totally random here. We're jumping around. We're winging it, but we're still providing value.
And to be honest, I have no idea what I'm going to ask until about 2 seconds before this podcast starts. So hope you guys enjoy the concept of that, because none of this is planned out in any sense whatsoever.
But we're going to wing it here. We're going to wing it just like they did.
Now, my first question for you, co-host, is if you were to rob someone that just robbed someone else, are you considered the good guy or the bad guy?
Oh, this is a great question.
It is maybe one of the best questions of all time.
Oh, have you robbed the robber?
If you rob someone that just robbed someone, does that make you the good guy or the bad guy?
You know what, co-host?
But when you rob that person, you don't give it back to the previous person. You keep it.
You keep it for yourself. So 2 wrongs don't make a wrong, or 2 make a right.
So what's your answer?
Oh, my friend, I have never robbed anybody. As much as I want to rob some people, I don't know if 2 wrongs make a right. What do you think, co-host? But this is a dog-eat-dog world. You gotta rob, you rob. If you rob someone else, then fuck them, and you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think if you end up giving back the objects of the stolen goods to the person who originally got robbed, I think you're the good person.
Sure.
But obviously, if you rob the person that robbed the previous person, you're still considered bad.
Yeah.
This may have not been the most thought out question because
no, but it's a good question though, and it has a little bit to do with karma. Are you absolved of the karma if you rob from someone who robs someone else, but you keep the goods? But if you return the goods, but then what if that person you return it to thinks that you robbed them in the first place? Then that could create even more problems.
Yeah, this leads into the next question. Do you think that dogs get splinters?
Oh, what a question. Well, you have to ask a veterinarian that.
This is something that humans constantly, when they're walking on wood, they're walking on decks. Wood. We're
big on the wood here.
Yeah, we're big on wood. In our last episode, when there's a woods, there's a way. You would know why. But whenever humans are walking on wood, there's a very good chance they're going to get a splinter. However, does this apply to the dog?
Oh, well, you know what? Now you got me wondering about the paws of the dog and what their paws are made out of, because they don't wear shoes, and dogs walk outside every day. So I don't think they would get splinters. I think for whatever reason, their paws are immune to wood.
It could be.
That's what I'm guessing.
This leads into the next question, co-host, because it applies to animals.
Let's hear it.
Do you have an answer to this question? Because I've wondered this my entire life. Do animals, can they chew gum?
Oh, can they chew gum and can they walk?
They can walk, but can they chew gum?
Well, can Can they walk and chew gum? There's a lot of humans. To be honest, there's a lot of humans that cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. So let's keep that in mind. But I don't think animals can chew gum. They'll try to swallow. I think any animal that you gave a piece of gum to, they would immediately try to swallow.
And what about the giraffe?
The giraffe?
The giraffe.
Well,
what about the kangaroo?
Wait, but there's a meme. Let's talk about the giraffe and the gum, because there is a meme of a giraffe chewing gum.
Is there?
Because, yes,
we don't have
Listen,
the staff to make this happen right now. We would love to show it to you.
Yeah, we need to go into this. We need to go into into Africa here, because there's something about the giraffe.
Giraffes only exist in Costa Rica.
But there's something about the giraffe, about the way the giraffe swallows, that makes it look like it's chewing gum. That's where you're getting that from.
I think giraffes' necks are so long that they are not able to chew gum, but the kangaroo hops around so much that they can, they have more of the capacity to chew gum.
Maybe they chew gum.
I personally think that the kangaroo is the only animal that can chew gum.
Okay. Possibly. But certainly no dog or cat can chew gum. I think that most animals will swallow the gum immediately or choke on it. Therefore, gum is a primarily human.
Anyways, co-host.
Anyway, sorry.
I watched a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm with LD and Jeff Garland, all those guys, and there's a lot of situations that apply. But something I'm wondering is why. Anytime I go out to eat somewhere, I am always wondering why it's considered rude to not put your napkin in your lap.
Ooh,
why etiquette. It is such a societal forcing situation where anytime you go to a more fancy a fancier restaurant, you are forced to put your napkin in your lap,
even sometimes before you even get the food. That's a great question.
But if you're just careful when you eat and you're clean and you're respectful when you're eating, you're not going to drop food on yourself. You should not be. You shouldn't be dropping food on yourself.
Absolutely, it's a tradition. It's simply a tradition.
Is it a tradition? So the answer is it's a tradition.
It's a tradition. Why?
Like Fiddle on the Roof. Tradition. Tradition.
Yes.
Tradition.
You know what, co-host? Sorry. You have to answer that one, because it's a fascinating question. But why the etiquette of dining is what it is? Why not put a napkin in your collar? Some people do that. Your collar?
I've heard in Vienna in the 1860s they used to do this along with very satanic ritual dining routines.
In Vienna.
Yes.
Oh my God.
In Vienna. My great ancestors were all from Vienna, Austria, along with Poland, Russia, the Czech Republic.
Really?
Yes, and Lithuania.
Lithuania.
Yes, Lithuania.
Me too.
Shout out to our our listeners in Lithuania.
Yeah, shout out.
I've heard we got a lot of Lithuanian users.
We do. Shout out to the Eastern
listeners out
there. To the Eastern European.
Yes, Eastern European all day. If we have any listeners in Eastern Europe, I just want to say,
let's go.
I will be there to greet you one day, and all of my ancestors were from there.
All of our ancestors.
However, I will make it to Austria one day.
Austria.
And if you're from Austria, you probably have to deal all day with the fact that people think you live in Australia.
Australia.
Yeah.
Not Austria.
People constantly confuse Australia with Austria.
Such dodos.
There's a lot of people that live in the U.S. that don't realize there's a world outside of the U.S. So thankfully, I've gotten the chance to live abroad many times.
My co-host here has. My co-host has really been around the world. Around the world, around the world. Is that a song? There was a 90s song about a rain. But
it's by Daft Punk.
Oh, excellent. But anyway.
Oh.
The chanting.
Oh, not here.
Eyes wide shut.
Okay, anyways. On to the next question, co-host. Something that's really been irking me lately, and it's kind of ruined TV in a way for me. Not really TV, but more commercials. I mean, but this really applies to TV shows and movies as well. Although some of it's obvious, but when you're watching commercials on TV,
sure.
When you simply realize that every single person in the commercial is an actor or an actress, it really changes the way you view the commercial.
It really does.
Every single person in a commercial is an actor or an actress.
Even the medical, even like the hospital or the medical commercials, where they're talking about an ailment that they dealt with.
Yeah,
they're all actors.
It's not just the medical ones though. It's every single commercial, and you're so when you're watching TV, you're not in analyzing, dissecting data mode. So you don't care about that stuff. But if you actually pay attention to it, the commercials lose so much they lose so much value and appeal in a way, because it's like they're all just actors and actresses. And they're all getting paid to be in these things.
Yeah.
And even the ones where like there's like technically some specialist or someone like talking to you like, hey, like you have to use this product because I use it. If you look at the very bottom in very small writing, it most likely will say actor portrayal. There's a very, it's just that's been irking me.
It irks me too. And honestly, growing up, it's hard to come to terms with this idea that Hollywood is fake, and that all the commercials you say, even the ones that are good and they pull on you and make you emotional, those are also just actors.
Yes, sir. And then we go on to the next topic, and this is something that I don't know. I don't believe we've discussed this in the past, but Coinstar. We did. This is a topic we did reference. Really? Okay.
Yes, in a good way, and previous podcasts.
Okay.
Because I confused it with Coinbase, and we're still going to confuse it with Coinbase. Sorry about that.
Well, Coinbase went public, so
we still want you to remember this.
Coinbase went public, and they're like, in the crypto world, they're doing very well.
They're doing very well. But anyway, on to the next one.
And the next question I have, co-host, before we we're recording this live from our studio here in Albany Park, Chicago, and we're looking out the window, and one of our co-hosts' neighbors is hot, and she's smoking a blunt, and we can see her in the window,
and she's bothered.
And we saw a guy come over there earlier, and apparently they might have a dog, but we don't know if they have a dog. But he kneeled down while she was sitting on the couch, and they closed the blinds, and we didn't know what was going on, but we were like,
we thought game on. Maybe there's some foul play, or maybe there's some good play. I don't, fair ball.
Fair ball,
game on.
Now, co-host.
Sorry.
Now, co-host, I have another question for you, and this is something that I have always wondered personally, often. But do you think that you've spent more times waiting at red lights or in elevators?
Wow. Co-host, what do you think?
I'm going to guess red lights.
At the end of the day, red lights, absolutely. Especially if you drive often, you're going to end up, just based on your total driving career, you're going to sit at a couple red lights throughout your life.
But if you work in an office building every day and you go there.
Oh, well then, if you walk to your
and you live in an apartment building that has you
drive.
And you live on the 60th floor.
60th floor. Well, then if you don't drive, you are absolutely going to be waiting for that elevator. So it all
now,
depends on where you live. Where do you live? What do you do? Where do you live?
Can you please explain to me what the fuck dust is?
Wow. Dust particles.
That's one of those things that no one talks about, but it's everywhere.
Dust particles.
And it just appears. It appears. And you have to get rid of the dust.
You
have to get rid of the dust.
You gotta get rid of it.
You gotta get rid of the dust. You gotta
sweep it. How do you get rid of it?
But what is it?
What is it made of?
What is dust?
What does it do? What is it? Why is it there?
What is dust?
What is dust? Dust is everything.
It could be, and if anyone listening to this knows what dust is and then wants to write in and tell us, or call in. Even though we haven't given a number. We accept it.
We accept all calls, toll free.
Oh, not here.
Stanley Kubrick. Okay.
Oh, not here. Okay.
Please, just watch the scene. Watch one of the final scenes from Eyes Wide Shut, and you will understand what we were chanting.
Now, the voice message on the phone. Who is the lady that leaves the automated voice message?
Oh,
this is a question that everyone
wants
to know deep down, but no one is asking.
The caller you are
is
trying...
it a real person?
Is it a real person?
Is it a real person? Is it a real person?
What does she say? What is her line? Is the caller you are trying to reach is no longer available.
Or the caller you are trying to reach has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Yes. The caller you are trying to reach does not have a voicemail that has been set up yet. I don't know.
Is this a real person?
Is it a real woman? And who is she? And how much money does she make? I don't know, co-host. I don't know.
Okay. Something else that you guys should know is that I'm a pretty big bicycle rider, not a motorcycle rider. I'm not going to pull a Big Ben here.
A Big Ben.
A Big Ben riding a motorcycle around and hitting your head on the telephone pole. You know?
Shout
out to Big Ben.
Shout out to Big Ben.
Going into his 18th season, leading the team.
Okay.
His arm might not even work. Who knows?
Might not even work.
Making,
dun, 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 dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun, making $35 million a year. Who knows what's happening with him? He has like 20 kids.
Wow. He's got a lot of kids.
Something I will say, though, is when you're bicycle riding around a town like Chicago, you slowly realize that pigeons are smarter than humans.
Ooh, the pigeons.
The pigeons get out of the way.
Well,
pigeons get out of the way and they respect the bicycle riders.
They do.
Humans don't give a flying fuck
about the pigeons.
About bicycle riders, and most of them are not paying attention. They will walk into the bike lanes and unless the bicycle rider is looking out, you will hit them.
You will hit them. Collision. But the pigeons never collide with anybody.
The pigeons have eyes in the back of their head.
They really do, and the pigeons wait till the last possible second to move, but they always move, and I never run over them.
But they are low key geniuses because they always get out of the way.
Genius.
If you're biking around, you know that you're not going to run over or hit a pigeon, let alone all birds. For the God's sake, like birds. They always get out of the way.
Well,
and I don't know what it is.
We've talked about birds on this podcast before, and the pigeons are a special type of bird. Didn't the pigeons used to deliver the mail?
The pigeons used to deliver the mail.
They used to. Wow.
Yep.
What a cool thing.
And then there was that weird scene in Home Alone Part 2 with the pigeon lady.
The pigeon lady. Oh,
the pigeon lady.
Kevin McAllister.
Yes, Kevin McAllister. And we talked about this in the last episode. Which Macaulay Culkin movie is better, Richie Rich or Home Alone?
Oh,
and
we talked about it.
Ties together, but the pigeon lady,
I
hope that she is receiving royalties off that movie. I hope she's living a good life.
I hope she's living a good life if she's still alive. I think she was Irish too. She was a little bit.
She was Irish.
She was Irish in the movie.
I think Liam Neeson might have fucked her.
Liam Neeson himself.
Liam Neeson. Okay.
Yeah.
Something else I want to talk about before this is over is that. If you're ever bored, something very interesting and funny to do, go on Google Maps, go to a very hood or dangerous neighborhood, and click on the different businesses around that area and read the reviews that people leave.
Oh, the reviews.
It's comical. It's comical because, you're reading reviews of Dollar Trees, you're reading reviews of, shrimp and fish fried chicken places.
Shrimp and fish.
And people are just ripping apart these places.
Well, that's what they always say. The problem with the reviews in general is that people generally, if they have a good experience, they won't leave a review. But if they have a bad experience, they're gonna leave a bad review. That's the problem with the reviews. Anyway, even in the hood.
And something actually interesting I just noticed is that using the voice microphone on your phone, it recognizes Uber, but not Lyft.
The battle, the ride
Who
share.
at Uber sleeping with the people in the iPhone industry?
Something needs to be
done.
done.
The CEO of Apple's gay. He could... And the founder of Uber's gay. Travis Kalanick and Tim Cook are... Yes.
Oh, Lord. No,
Travis Kalanick and Tim Cook, you have your answer.
You have your answer. That's the reason.
People forgot about that.
Just kidding. We are accepting of all creeds, colors, sexualities. Well, gunshot. We just heard a gunshot in the room.
Yeah, who knows? It could be a person upstairs, downstairs. We don't know. But we have a few more topics here. And my question for you is, why the fuck are there two shift keys on the keyboard?
Why are there two
shift keyboards?
Well, this goes back
to two shift keys on the keyboard on your computer. Why are there two?
It goes back to the ergonomics.
I don't know what an ergonomic is.
Oh, that's the keyboard. The layout of the keyboard. It's made like that for a reason. Trust me.
I don't like how there's two shifts.
It's so you can reach both your pinkies on both of the shift keys.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, jumping to the next one. What's worse when driving? Having a slow-ass person driving in front of you, or having a person tailing you real hard from the back?
I hate being tailed from the back. I can deal with someone in front of me because
What if you're in a rush?
I'm in a rush. Well, it still sucks.
And what if the road, there's no way to pass them for 15 miles?
Well, brutal. Well, then at least, again, when you're in back, you are in control. You can honk at them. You can when someone is behind you, you are not in control. I don't care what situation. I've been driving for a long time. I hate slow drivers, but I don't like being tailed more.
My co-host is the best driver there is.
One of the best. And so is my co-host. My co-host is one of the most skilled drivers in the history of driving.
I drive. This reminds me of the movie with Ryan Gosling called Drive. And one of those memorable scenes of the entire movie, maybe in modern cinema history,
absolutely,
is that the girl, I think it might have been Haley Williams. What's her name?
Sarah Evan Rachel Wood.
No, it wasn't Evan Rachel Wood. It was something Williams, and
Michelle Williams.
Yes. She looked at Ryan Gosling and she said, "What do you do?" And he responded, "I drive."
He drives.
I drive.
He doesn't even drive, though. He drives. He drives, but he doesn't drive.
It was maybe the most legendary response in cinema history.
Cinema history, great movie.
Great guy, Ryan Gosling. Don't know him, but I think he's a great guy.
Great guy.
But he can't go out in public. He can't do anything.
He's the
same thing as being famous.
I had a buddy that worked with him.
He can have sex with any girl he wants.
Any girl he wants. I had a buddy that worked with him on the Ides of March. Nobody remembers that movie. He was in that movie. Was he in that movie?
I remember.
He was in the Ides of March with George Clooney. Ryan Gosling's been in a lot of movies. No doubt. Great actor. Great. He's actually a good guy. I think he was a little bit sheltered growing up, a little bit homeschooled. But
was he? Do you have a fact on that?
I do have a little bit of a fact on that. He was a little bit, but he's a talented actor, so who cares?
What if someone were to say to you, "I'm not going to lie. I'm going to lie."
Wow.
What do you think?
Say it. Can you clarify?
What if someone were to come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lie."
Well, so which one are you supposed to believe? Did he lie or did he not lie?
Here's my question to you, though.
Well, that's a really deep question, and co-host, I think you're gonna have to answer that one for us.
I haven't given it enough thought. If anyone listening to this has an answer, we'd be more than happy to to hear some feedback.
It's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny question. Hey, I'm going to lie, but I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to lie. So you're not really going to be sure if what I'm saying is true. So
we'll get back to this one. If anyone is listening to this and wants to give us some feedback, please do. But this leads into one of our final questions because we're running out of time here, co-host. And something I just can't fucking stand. When you're watching a movie with other people and instead of watching the movie and appreciating the movie, all they fucking do is point out what other movies these actors and actresses have been in. What do we do when this happens? Why does it constantly happen?
The movies, they're pointing out other movies.
When you're watching a movie with other people, and instead of watching the movie and appreciating it, the only thing they're doing is being like, "Oh, he was in Deep Blue Sea. He was in Schindler's List."
Are you giving me a hard time because I feel like I was doing that about 2 minutes ago? He's been in this movie. He's been in this movie.
I don't know.
I was doing that about a minute ago, and I apologize for doing that. But you're right. People don't know how to watch movies.
People don't. And to all of our listeners, this wraps up episode 3. Episode 3. Remember, the title is that it'll all make sense one day.
It'll all make sense one day.
And there's a very strange medium we're trying to create in this podcast, where there's a balance between we're trying to create hope, and not only hope, but like my co-host and I believe strongly in that, like, things like, there's a plan in life, and we're both not spiritual. We're both not like, we don't live by the Bible. We don't follow like any religious beliefs,
any doctrines.
But we do believe that, like, if you put your mind towards succeeding and you work towards it, you really can achieve stuff. And we're not just saying that. We really strongly believe that. And that's part of this podcast. Face the day. When there's a woods, there's a way.
When there's a woods, there's a way.
And it'll all make sense one day. But at the same time, the podcast, what's mixed in that doesn't make much sense is that we're just talking about random topics. We're just bashing them out one after another. And
but each time you listen to this podcast, you will get a little bit smarter each time.
We're trying to mix in comedy and also personal growth.
Personal growth, personal ambition and motivation. Yes, exactly. Yes.
It's called percometal growth. Percometal growth.
Yes.
Percometal growth. Percometal growth.
Okay.
And as we end this podcast, we must say the chant from Eyes Wide Shut one more time.
Say the chant. One more. Here we go.
Oh, no,
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, get out of here.
All right, for anyone still listening to this, we hope you have a great rest of your day, your night, your week, your morning, whatever time zone you're in.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. We probably have listeners over in fucking New Zealand. Shout out to my man. You know, I was with this dude from Australia last weekend, Benny.
Oh,
You
Benny.
know, he had an Australian accent, great guy. And he liked beans. He liked the big beans.
You like the big beans.
But that might be Britain. I don't know. I can't remember. UK versus Australia. Who knows? They're all the same shit. U.S. All I know is I've lived abroad. The U.S. There's more countries out there. We appreciate everyone that's listening, and we honestly hope that you're having, you know, we hope that we bring some joy to your life, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.